Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. I'm Ned Kramer, the Editor-in-Chief of Architect. Thank you for joining us for our very first inaugural panel at Architect Live at the 2017 AIA conference here in Orlando, Florida, sunny Orlando. Our first talk today is a panel with three very smart, very fun people from Owens Corning, and we're going to be talking about building product performance and the notion of purposeful and practical performance. Good alliteration in the title there, which we like. And what I'd like to do is actually begin by asking each of our panelists to introduce themselves, starting with Angie at the end.
Good morning. My name is Angie Ogino, and I am the Technical Services Leader for our Insolutions team at Owens Corning. And my team is responsible for designing fire containment systems for multi-story structures.
All right, Herbert Slone.
Yeah, good morning, and my name is Herbert Slone. I'm Chief Architect for Owens Corning and responsible for overall commercial building system development at Owens Corning.
Hi, I'm Gale Tedhams. I'm the Director of Sustainability for Owens Corning and look at all aspects of sustainability for our company.
Welcome. It's nice to see you guys again. We were just saying this is sort of an annual gig for us, and it's like a family reunion. It's enjoyable. So let's begin with the real basics of process. Owens Corning is an organization, the three of you as colleagues. How do you approach working with the architect?
Want me to start? Ned, several years ago, we took the approach of working with the architect from the architect's perspective. We look at the building and the performance expectations of it, and then integrate our system solutions. We have a new concept, a couple of years old now, called enclosure solutions. And it's all about every surface of the building, the roof, the walls, the foundations, and integrating performance as our top criteria. We have a terrific team of people with Gale and Angie and others deeply involved in the building science. So we take our knowledge of building enclosures and integrate building science into it and try to deliver solutions. Of course, those solutions bring along our products. There's no secret about that. We're selling products. But we're really trying to integrate our diverse portfolio of products into system performance solutions that really view the building like the architect views the building, as an entity that has to perform. And that's our first criteria. That's what's different about how we do it.
So tell me a little bit more from an environmental and kind of material science perspective about the idea of the building envelope and the kind of holistic systems thinking that you bring to the table, which seems to me sort of a unique an organization as large as Owens Corning and kind of complex and sophisticated, I should say, as Owens Corning, seems like something you can do that a lot of other building product manufacturers can't.
Well, I'll take that one. As Herb said, we look at the building science and how the products work together. So that can help the architects and engineers understand the design and how that building can be more durable, resilient, resistant to moisture damage, those kinds of things. As well as from a product standpoint, we have a whole team that looks at our product sustainability and providing the information for particularly those architects that are looking at green building programs, the documentation, the third-party certifications, and all of the information around how our products can meet their sustainability goals.
Okay. And from a material science perspective, I mean, there's a whole kind of, in this day and age, almost arising out of the sustainability movement, an attentiveness to the math of performance kind of data and measuring performance goals and durability, resilience over time. So this isn't on our list of questions, but I am curious about testing and the kind of regimen from both an environmental and a kind of performative perspective.
Well,
how do you kick the tires?
We definitely test our products from the certification standpoint for low emissions and things like that, but I think Angie can talk about what we do for testing for life safety and some of the other performance-related categories.
Yeah, so, in fire containment, literally there's no room for error, right?
Yeah.
The occupants of the building are obviously depending on architects and specifiers and really the integrity of the design. And that's where our team comes into play. The architect has a lot of pressure on them to not only select the correct products and systems, but to also make sure that they're code compliant. And so that's where the Enclosure Solutions team, we offer that one-on-one code consulting. We go over all the details of the fire containment systems, and we actually look at project-specific details that are relevant to the architect. And we collaborate with that commercial building partner to actually make sure that we're installing systems that are not only designed properly, but are installed properly so that we can give occupants of high-rise buildings that added assurance that they're going to have the time to evacuate a building if it's ever needed.
Looks like Herbert has a thought on that line.
Yeah, I wanted to add to what Angie says. It's so that life safety aspect of building design is so critical, but there's so many aspects of fire safety. There's fire containment, which Angie's team specializes in. There's perimeter fire containment. There's interior fire containment, all the passive fire systems that go into buildings. But then we look at other aspects of building science, such as thermal performance.
Okay.
And water resistance from a couple of different perspectives. Bulk water resistance from the outside, vapor water resistance and management from the inside. So there's moisture from several perspectives, there's fire from several perspectives, there's air leakage, there's structural connections because we create these tremendous air barriers, but then in order to attach veneers or metal claddings, we necessarily have to poke them full of holes with fasteners.
Right. Sort of counterintuitive. But
so you've got but you've got to manage those things,
right.
And that's the challenge for architects today, is to really put all those pieces and parts together to create a system that's truly been tested together, that meets fire, that meets thermal, that meets air, that meets water,
right.
Meets structural. All of those critical components have to come together to create a system that truly performs as a system. And that's what's unique about what we're doing with our products and our people at Owens Corning. We are systemizing in a way that's really unprecedented and bringing a building science, fire science, sustainability science. We're putting it all together in a way that really is unprecedented, but is really demanded by today's market.
So when you're testing, given the fact that there's this incredible advantage of using a suite of products, right, from one source that are, I'm sure in many ways, specifically designed to work with each other. Does the testing then involve multiple product lines working in concert? Or are you testing them also individually? How does the actual physical testing, one of my favorite things about doing what I do is getting to go to building product manufacturing plants and watching things literally get torched and blown up and hosed down. And
that's fun, yeah. Burning and breaking things. That's a lot of fun.
Exactly.
And get paid to do it.
Appeals to the 14-year-old in me. There's a lot of that. So.
I think an answer to your question is it's both and.
Yeah.
We both have to look at the individual product characteristics. We have to know permeance. We have to know fire performance on the individual product. We have to understand emissions. We have to understand even what materials are in there and how they're going to be compatible with each other. And then you look at what the system is supposed to do, and particularly the building science, we have modeling capability so that we can look at knowing all those parameters around the individual products and how they work together to be able to model both the heat, air, and moisture flow through that building to see what the failure modes might be or to see what the risk profile would be for that building.
And by modeling, you mean digitally?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. In addition to kind of field testing and so forth. Yeah.
I think Angie has an incredible contribution too with the unique components that you create for perimeter fire containment. Maybe talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've been testing for years.
Yeah.
Actually, Thermafiber, Owens Corning pioneered the perimeter fire containment. And when we talk about perimeter fire containment, we're talking about where you have a non-rated exterior wall in a high-rise structure intersecting a rated floor assembly. And this area can be very vulnerable to fire. It's probably one of the most complex and least understood areas where fire propagates in a commercial building. And the reason why is because the components are so heat sensitive. If you look at the actual aluminum components that are constructed in these curtain wall systems, in the event of a fire, those are going to melt out very quickly, as little as 9 minutes into a fire. And so that really narrows the time frame that occupants have to either evacuate the building or seek safe refuge. So, we take it very seriously at Owens Corning to make sure that not only, like Gale says, that our products provide that highest level of fire resistivity and performance from a thermal, acoustical perspective, but we actually test these systems. And to be quite honest, they're expensive to test, and we've had a lot of successes, but we've also had a lot of failures. But failures, you can learn a lot. We actually have a really good idea of what combination of mineral wool products will actually work and won't work. And so that's very helpful to architects in these very unique designs that we're starting to see on buildings, being able to collaborate with the architect to make code compliant solutions for them.
So in the universe of kind of systemized solutions, how are you seeing the marketplace embrace them, accept them? Is it at this point kind of familiar and well accepted, or something that you're having to push a little bit on to?
Well, I think the marketplace is demanding them, first of all. Building codes and energy codes and fire standards and durability and green standards, they've all evolved so much over the last couple of decades. The buildings that we're designing now really were not conceived so much 20 years ago.
I see.
But with the arrival of air barrier requirements in 2010 and ASHRAE 90.1, and the arrival of continuous insulation requirements, we're essentially taking buildings that are required by the building code to be non-combustible, but then because of the air barriers and the continuous insulation options, we're often wrapping those buildings in necessarily combustible materials. So you have to have a view of how the codes have changed,
yeah.
and the systemization responds to those changes and really tries to add value to the architect's practice by getting them to a solution faster.
Right.
So we do a lot of research, the work that Angie's team does and the durability work that Gale does and all of our building science people. We're trying to anticipate the systemization needs and give the architect documentation that enables them to get to a solution faster, to make their practice more efficient. And as a result of that, they design a better product, a better building for their customer. And of course, there's so many things changing and so many requirements that it's always easy to miss something.
Yes.
And you don't want that moment on a Friday night when you think, my God, did I think to detail that NFPA 285 window head right? I don't know if I did that right or not. So there's that concern about, did I miss something? So more efficiency, better product, better output, and just help me avoid missing something. That's what the marketplace is demanding now with systemization, Ned, that really wasn't so much that way 20 years ago.
What about the kind of regulatory system? Now, it's sort of, I don't know, about with the standard system with sustainability. I mean, I know that there are competing players in the marketplace, but how are you kind of keeping up with those evolutions and changes, Gale?
Well, we're definitely looking at that, and of course, health, well-being, indoor air quality, all of those things are very top of mind. The comfort of the occupants of buildings and how they're going to live, work, and play in those buildings is very critical. We've just launched a new thermofiber product that is formaldehyde-free. We are looking at those kinds of things because we know that architects want those materials that have a higher level of sustainability that they can offer to their clients. And these green building programs that you mentioned, Well Building, the Living Building Challenge, the LEED programs are all raising the bar on
Yes.
not only the transparency of the products, what goes into them, and we've done environmental product declarations and material health certificates for our full line of products. And this is just, we're continuing, we have a whole strategy for our product line to continue to look at how we can make those things better and more, help meet those new criteria as they come along.
And you're launching this formaldehyde-free thermofiber at the show, right?
Today is our first day for it. Yes.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
So will people be able to
Come
kind
see
of
us
go to, I was going to say, what's the booth number?
3515. Come
30.
by our booth. We can show you the product. You can touch it and feel it, and and give you more information.
Can probably eat it, given how sort of environmentally
We're not gonna go that
sound it sounds.
We kind of stopped short of that. That might be an evolution, yeah.
But you can certainly stand next to it and feel comfortable. No off-gassing, no formaldehyde. We like that. That's a big step.
We're
And what
excited because those are the things that help take everybody's ability to create better buildings and more sustainable buildings, and also meeting all the performance criteria that we just talked about.
That's right. That's right.
I need to tell you one thing, though. You said you could eat the mineral wool. You can't do that. But I tell you one thing, other thing you can see at our booth. You can touch EcoTouch now. It's fiberglass.
Oh.
You can touch it. It doesn't itch anymore.
That's
a big deal.
Huge.
Yeah, so
Extremely
stop by and touch EcoTouch.
Okay.
And get some coffee, but don't eat the mineral wool. Okay?
Yeah, we do have coffee, and we have a lot of interactive stuff that
You
people want
do?
to see how things fit together, how they work together. You can actually do some things on your own if you'd like to work.
You can
with our
actually
different
touch it.
fasteners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I know. I think of as a little kid, and you always were so tempted to, no. But now you can. Now
The world's a different place now.
That's right.
It doesn't itch anymore.
Itching. Now, if only my underwear. No, itchy wool. So, last question around fire safety. And I guess really, Angie, this is a you question.
Okay.
Where are you seeing code evolving? Are there kind of emerging areas that you're concentrating on now in terms of research or product development?
Well, actually, probably in the last 3 or 4 years, there's not been a significant change in the codes around fire containment, in particular, perimeter fire containment, I should say. But in other areas, we're starting to see more trade-offs where you're getting, the use of automatic sprinklers being installed as a trade-off to passive fire containment. And that really can be a problem because really, if you look at all of the fire safety systems that are available, you really should take the balanced approach to life safety. And this would be, the first one would be detective. And this would be the installation of smoke detectors and heat detectors in buildings. The second line of defense really, and we're not saying it's not good, we think that fire or sprinkler systems should be installed in our buildings. That's the second line of defense for occupants. But the thing to keep in mind is that those are active systems, meaning that they have a turn on and turn off mechanism, and in order for them to work, they have to turn on.
Yeah.
Whereas passive fire containment, it doesn't have a turn on mechanism. So if it's properly designed and installed, it's always guaranteed to work. And what we've learned through history is that you don't want to just have one or two of these systems in place, but you want to include all three so that we're maximizing the fire safety for occupants in our commercial buildings.
Interesting. And Gale, one for you. Talk to me a little bit about kind of informational transparency. So as a specifier or an architect who's writing a specification or even an associate doing so, how does Owens Corning kind of work with me as the hypothetical specifier to ensure that I really understand and kind of have faith in what's in the product and how it's going to perform?
Yes, we've been a proponent of third-party certifications for decades
Ever,
now.
yeah.
Yes, and the reason why is because sometimes, believe it or not, people don't believe the manufacturers, so that's one thing. So we want to make sure that we have that third party, we do the testing, and we have that assurance for anyone that's looking at the product. But I urge everyone to look for those third party certifications because sometimes there is mischief that goes on in the marketplace. And I think it's really important that we're all working according to the standards and that are there, and there are very good standards out there today. Environmental product declarations, material health certifications, all those things help to give you the information you need about the product. For instance, the material health certifications have a really neat color-coded information boxes, very clearly spells out the main information that you need. And so those are the kinds of things that we provide through our Get Tech the email line, gettech@owenscorning.com, or you can call 1-800-GET-PINK. We have a lot of things on another email address, website is ocbuildingspec.com.
ocbuildingspec.com.
And that has all of our certifications listed so that you can, pick out all the different products and what has which certifications for recycled content, low emissions, and then, the other ones that I mentioned. So we think that's very important.
Okay. Herbert, here's one for you. And then I think we'll turn it over to questions before wrapping up. But what, as an architect yourself, where do you see the profession moving? Any kind of critical areas beyond what we've spoken about today that you see Owens Corning and the profession kind of needing to address as we move forward?
Well, I think there's still a lot of work to do in systemization. Certainly greater efficiency, net zero buildings. We're looking at all of those things and the way to bring it into the commercial realm. But I think our focus is to continue to perfect the system concept.
Okay.
At Owens Corning with our enclosure solutions portfolio, we're working on roof solutions, wall solutions, and foundation solutions, and variations of all of those things, because there's so many ways to build a commercial roof. There's vegetated roofs and a whole roster of different types of roof systems and wall systems. There's all kinds of veneers, CMU, steel stud, wood stud, type 1 through 5 construction. There's such a variety of need. And then in foundations, it's not quite as diverse once you get below grade, but there's still variations below grade with insulation and protection and drainage enhancement. So what we're trying to do at Owens Corning is to continue to diversify our products, continue to accessorize our products so that our diverse products and the accessories work together as a system with all of the attributes of sustainability and fire protection and thermal and water and moisture, and try to get that envelope to a higher level of perfection, all contributing to the eventual net zero building concept. And we're trying to touch every surface of the building with really an unprecedented portfolio of diverse products. So that's our goal.
And I want to mention that the guides that you've put together, that we have, the information is incredible for the details, as well as having the information on codes and the
good point. Yeah, the documentation to support all of that is critical to make it easily specified.
Way to deliver
New way to deliver it.
Various file formats for
and make the architect more efficient and help them produce a better product and help them avoid missing something. So absolutely right, Gale.
Trying to make it easy.
We like easy. We like easy and reliable, which you definitely are. So, any questions from the audience for our panel? Yes.
With all the different decisions that have to be so you talked about the process that you're unveiling or that you've been working on. Is that more of a service-based offering, or is that a piece of software? What is that you're offering? And then also, does that process allow you to look at different kinds of iterations and the return on investment ultimately on the performance of that building based on those decisions?
Yeah, we have different ways that you can interact. So there's the Insolutions group that Angie works with. It's really based on what you need at what level that you need. So we can consult directly with you on particular problems or building construction issues that you're dealing with, or you can go online. Sorry about that. You can go online and just pick off the information. So we have specifications online. We're going to have a lot of those details right online that you could pull off. So it's really based on what your need is.
Yeah, and we have gotten deeply involved in WULFI modeling, and perhaps that might be some of what you're thinking about, so that we can look at long-term thermal and moisture accumulation, long-term moisture accumulation and wetting and drying, long-term thermal performance, specialized to a region, so that we can select air and vapor retarders that have the appropriate level of permeability, and we have data that shows that it works in NFPA 285. So we look at it from a number of different perspectives, including what your question was about: regionalization, long-term payback, those kinds of things. We're heading toward all of those things.
Great.
Thank you. Good question.
Time for one more question. Yes.
From a marketing point of view, we have this lovely pink person that comes around and shows us to put a pink in the wall. But for a more integrated solution like you're planning, you're going to have a whole pile of pink critters, or a menagerie, or are they going to grow up and be something else?
I think we're wondering about the.
Well, we have the Pink Panther, and he's here today. So if you want to meet him and get your picture taken with him, come over to 3515.
He's a very nice guy.
And you're even wearing a pink shirt. Thank you.
Yes.
As
Well
bi-
branded. Thank you.
as big as he is, the Pink Panther's huge, and as big as he is, he's still very approachable. So come see him.
Thank you all for joining us. Thank you to our panelists, Angie and Herbert and Gale. You
Thank
guys,
you, Ned.
A
Yeah, thank
pleasure
you.
every year.
Thank you
Thank
very much.
you.
Good to see you again.